Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my new video. My name's AJ. I am back, guys. Well, actually, I haven't really gone. I have been mainly focusing on my new channel, talking about Ukraine and stuff. I've not been doing enough channels about China. I have been doing a few now and then, mainly because I am very busy. I am working full time, so I can only do one video every day or every couple of days. And obviously I've been focusing on Ukraine, and I've also been focusing on my new channel as well. But things will change soon. I'm gonna start doing more China videos again, starting with this one. So regularly you will see me do more Chinese videos. I haven't forgotten about you guys. Hopefully you haven't forgotten about me. So China will always be my first love. I'm still trying to come to China, by the way. Obviously, under lockdowns, it's been very hard. China is still not open yet. I did try and apply for a visa. It's got rejected, mainly because China said they are not taking in any more people. Not until their lockdowns are completely over and they are open the borders again. So I will try maybe again next year to come to China. But yeah, I'm still following the China news every single day. I still have very good Chinese friends, and those of you who don't know me, I have actually traveled in China for a couple of years. I lived in Chongqing. I went to Hong Kong even. I also did a bit of traveling as well. I also went to Xi'an, Beijing, Shanghai, places like that. So definitely I want to come back to China and do some more blogging, doing what Reportify does, really, talking nice things about China, talking positive things, really. I don't really like talking about negative stuff about China. I'm talking about the negative news stuff, not negative stuff, but negative news stuff that's circulating around about China every single day, stuff that's coming out of the West, all the bad stuff, when they talk about Xinjiang, when they talk about, Hong Kong in a bad way, when they talk about Taiwan, all of the bad news. I really, really hate talking about it because it's bad news end of the day. And I like talking about good stuff. I like talking about positive stuff. I like talking about China's achievements. And so this is really good news. Shanghai is back to full swing again after it's been locked down for the last few months. And I can see, I've seen a lot of YouTube channels. I've seen a lot of news channels and articles, CGTN. I can see how happy people are in Shanghai, that they're allowed to move around now. They can go to bars, restaurants, and shopping. And I can see China becoming pushing really, really hard over the next few months. And if you remember the last lockdown that China had in Wuhan, and China has really, really suffered really badly in terms of economy, but they bounced back within a month. This is the will of the Chinese people. They bounced back. They fought hard, and they did a complete U-turn. And it's a V-shaped economy at the time. And what it means with the V-shaped, things went down, but within a month, things were back to normal again. And in fact, China was doing much better than normal, because people in China, they have a very, very strong drive. They want to do well. They want to be successful. And the fact that it's been holding them back over the past few months, it will give them a lot of, they will have a lot of pent-up anger within them. They want to release it. They will go out. They will have fun. They will spend money. They will push themselves in their businesses. I'm sure there's a big waiting list of stuff they need to do in terms of business. And they will push themselves even more. And I think this will drive China's economy over the next quarter, and things will be really, really well. China will do really well. The West is not doing very well at the moment because of the high cost of living, because of the high oil prices, because of the EU's stupid ban on Russian oil and gas as well. EU will have a lot of problems. Their manufacturing will be will be destroyed. I mean, if you look at UK has got zero manufacturing at the moment because of Brexit, because of COVID, because of all these ridiculous sanctions they placed on Russia. You know, UK is really suffering right now. Their cost of living is through the roof. You know, inflation is through the roof. So if you're a business and you're in UK and you're in Europe, you are going to be suffering the next few months. So people are going to be wanting to save money. They're going to be wanting to save costs. And the most cost-effective way of buying stuff is from China. So you will see a lot of companies still buying stuff from China. Because of the China lockdowns, I'm sure there's a lot of companies who have been waiting for goods from China, and it has drove up prices. So things will go back to normal. You will see a lot of orders. Because you can't beat the price of China. When you're suffering from inflation and high cost of living, you want to save every penny you can get. So you look at Chinese goods and you can buy it for really cheap price, including the transport. It still ends up cheaper than making it at home, because when you make it at home, you got to think about paying high wages. You got to think about paying high rents. You got to pay for really expensive raw materials, and most of the times you got to ship these raw materials from China. So by the time you make it at home, I'm talking about the West, you'll find that things are 2 times or 3 times more expensive. It's much easier to buy it from China. And you can see United States, their trade balance is minus 1.182 trillion last year. Look at United Kingdom is minus 226 billion in terms of trade balances. So they have been importing close to 3 trillion worth of goods and exporting 1.7 trillion worth of goods. Britain, you can see, is even worse. They have exported 468 billion and importing 694 billion last year. And obviously this year is going to be even worse because of all the supply chains, because of all the high gas prices and many other things. And you look at most of the other countries around Europe as well, it's pretty much the same. So let's go to China, shall we? And you can see China exported 3.363 trillion and imported 2.687 trillion. So they have made a gain of 676 billion last year. And this year is probably going to be even better, apart from the last few months. But I think overall, by the end of the year, they will pretty much beat this. So their trade surplus is looking really good. China's looking really good. If you look at India, for example, India likes to think of itself like a superpower. And if you look at India's exports, it's 395 and imports is 572. So the trade balance is minus 177. So India's not, people think India's a superpower, but I think India's going to be really struggling. Very low compared to the dollar, is very low compared to the Chinese yuan, very low compared to the Russian ruble. So as India imports more than it exports, India will really suffer, especially they have a huge number of people, so they need to be able to feed these people, and so I think India is suffering, especially this year. There's a heat wave going on in India, and this heat wave started around March. This is really affecting India's productivity. Their wheat production is not as well as they did last year because of the extra heat. They have not been producing enough wheat. So India is really going to be suffering over the next few years, especially as oil prices rises up more and more. And India is a huge importer of oil and gas, so they are going to be suffering. And you have to look at other countries as well. And I think, people don't realize how much money China makes from trade. And China is in a very good position in trade, because as the Western countries have more inflation, as the Western countries suffer with cost of living crisis, people will want to get cheaper goods. And the only way they can get cheaper goods for the same quality or even better quality is from China. It's much cheaper to get it from China, and this basically controls your inflation. If America or Britain start manufacturing all of the goods that they buy from China, you will see inflation shooting up even more. For example, if they start making, I'm just giving an example, to make a car in Britain, for example, it'll be probably 2 or 3 times more expensive than buying it from China. And I'm talking about electric cars. And even manufacturing of cars in England, they are going down. Britain used to be a very, very good manufacturer of cars, and it used to be Britain's biggest export. Cars used to be Britain's biggest export, but not anymore. The car industry in Britain is a shambles at the moment. Most of the factories have moved abroad, or they've moved to Europe, or they've moved somewhere in Asia. So Britain is really, really suffering in terms of manufacturing. And if they wanted to make an EV car, for example, they will not be able to do it in Britain. First of all, you need a lot of raw materials. You need lithium and all sorts of cobalt and many other raw materials. And China is the number one country which has that supply chain. So you're going to have to get it all the way from China. Then you're going to have to build these gigafactories in UK. And these gigafactories to build in UK with the high cost and high home prices, it will cost maybe 10 times more expensive than it would be to build in Shanghai, for example. Tesla's got one in Shanghai and they're building another one in Shanghai. Tesla would never ever build one in England because they know it's not cost effective. It's very, very expensive, the land here. And also you've got to pay people high wages as well. So definitely won't be very, very cost effective. So a lot of these countries will start buying from China again. They obviously stopped buying because of China was in lockdown. But now that lockdown's over, you will see a big queue of stuff that they wanted to buy from China. That will start going through again. And also a lot of foreigners probably left China during lockdown as well. A lot of businesses probably left China during lockdown. They will come back to China. They will always come back to China because there's no other place better. There's no other place in the world that's going to be making you lots of money. China has all the supply chains. It's got everything it needs. It's got cheap labor. It's got supply chains, and it's got the market. 1.4 billion people, especially with 500 billion people coming out of poverty. So you have a huge, huge middle class there. So people that say, oh, because of lockdowns we're leaving China, where are they gonna go? Where are they gonna go? Nowhere. They're all gonna come back. They're all gonna come back. So I'm really happy for Shanghai. You can see that there's a launch happening for the third aircraft carrier, and this was on hold during the Shanghai lockdowns because the Shanghai-based shipyard was having a severe lockdown because of the COVID stuff, but now it's back to full swing again, and they are ready for the launch of the third aircraft carrier, which is going to be a very, very exciting moment for China. And the West is obviously going to be really, really frightened, especially the way China's technology is improving and all of this stuff that China's doing. They're doing it themselves. They're not buying it from America or the West. They're not getting the technology from there. This is all home-based technology, and it just shows their strength. And do you remember the times in the 80s when the West put an arms embargo on China, and they didn't allow China to be added to the space race? They didn't allow China any weapons from the West. And now look at China now. It's been a blessing in disguise because China doesn't need Western weapons. They've got all of the weapons that they need. They have a huge weapons industry in China, and they have better weapons than some Western weapons out there. We're talking about hypersonic stuff. We're talking about drones with AI. These are best in the world, better than the Western counterparts. And I can see China improving in every single way in terms of aircrafts, in terms of ships. And the West is getting very, very scared. And a few years ago, about 5 years ago, the West was pretty confident in beating China when it comes to war over Taiwan, but they're not confident anymore. They still think they can win, though. I mean, you can just have to look at the papers and just have to look at what these dumb, politicians are saying sometimes. They still think they could beat China, but I think China will beat them so easily that they really, really will not have a chance at all. And you just have to look at what they've been saying about Russia and Ukraine. They've been saying that Russia is losing in Ukraine. Ukraine will beat Russia. Ukraine will win. It's the same sort of BS they give to Taiwan. They're going to be doing the same. They're going to play the same trick. They're going to play from the same book. They're going to push for Taiwanese independence. They're going to tell Taiwan, you're going to win. You will definitely beat China. You guys will win. We will support you. We'll support you from a distance. We don't want any American lives to be lost, but we will fight China till the last Taiwanese. Same way they're using every single last Ukrainian to fight the Russian. And you can see how the war's going. They're not winning. They're destroying the country. They're destroying Ukraine. They're absolutely destroying Ukraine. Ukraine is being destroyed. The infrastructure is being destroyed. Millions of people are leaving because of refugees. The only money Ukraine is making is from the West, coming from America with the part of the 40 billion. Europeans are sending money, the British are sending money, they're getting money from crowdfunding. But eventually that money will stop. Eventually that will dry up. People are bored of Ukraine now. I was looking at the British papers yesterday, not one mention of Ukraine, not one. A few months ago, it's front page news every single day. But now, the BBC, hardly anything about Ukraine. Nobody cares anymore. So you will see that money is going to dry up very soon. And Ukraine's going to be the next list of countries used by the West and spat out after they've used them. They will be happy to kill every single last Ukrainian if it means they will get what they need out of Russia. It's a shame that, and they will use the same tactics on Taiwan. So things are happening with Taiwan again. You can see a big shift in terms of news. You can see this lady. This lady is obviously the UN rights chief, visited China. Already the Americans are asking for her resignation. I've seen some newspaper articles in America. They're asking for her resignation. They're saying that she's been bought by China. They are already kind of pushing this narrative, and because she doesn't fit in with the narrative, because she didn't come back and say, oh yeah, there's a lot of Uyghurs in detention camps, there's millions of Uyghurs in detention camps, because she didn't say that, the Americans want her out. It's basically the same. You either follow their fake narrative, follow their lies, and if you don't follow their lies, you basically get kicked out. And I'm sure they're making moves behind the scenes to get her kicked out of the UN or disregard her report. They did the same thing with the WHO when the WHO came back and said they could not find any COVID evidence that China had released it. Again, because they didn't like what the WHO said, they went and disregarded the WHO and tried to, basically do other stuff. It's the same kind of playbook that the West plays against China, and you can see it happening again and again and again. And basically, I'm sick of it. So let's look at this final clip, shall we? And the Idiot of the Day award goes to Canada. And it says here, Canada says China is harassing its aircraft near North Korea. So, Canadian military has accused China's warplanes of harassing its pilots during United Nations sanctions patrols along the border with North Korea to monitor evasions. And it says, Canadian Armed Forces said in a statement that Chinese planes have flown so close they have forced Canadian pilots to quickly change course to avoid potential collision with the interception of the aircraft. And then at the bottom it says here, these interactions are unprofessional and put the safety of our Royal Canadian Air Force personnel at risk. Can you believe this crap? So let me tell you this. The last time I checked North Korean borders, it's not just North Korean borders, these are Chinese borders as well, because North Korean borders are bordering China, and it's also bordering South Korea, but the main borders are bordering China. So if there's these Canadian Air Force pilots are flying across North Korean borders, they're obviously going to be, on Chinese borders as well. So China's not going to sit there and take it, right? This is it's security at risk. So they're going to fly their own planes and try and get these Canadian airplanes to fly a different way, because they are basically getting into Chinese sovereignty here. So what do they think? China is weak because you can fly across North Korean borders and fly across Chinese borders whenever you like. These UN sanctions are not against China. They might be against North Korea, but use your South Korean borders to fly to North Korea if you have to, but don't fly across Chinese borders. Seriously, such idiots of the day. And they have the cheek to fly on China's sovereignty and China's airspace, and they have the cheek to say that China's the one that's harassing Canada. Why doesn't China fly on Canadia's borders and then see what the Canadians say after that? This is absolutely ridiculous. Seriously. This is the most silliest, idiotic thing I've ever heard in my life. And this is why the Idiot of the Day award goes to Canada. Absolutely hilarious. I'm going to end it for now. Let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Do what you can to help support the channel and help support me. And also, don't forget to put your details in the comment section. Because I get so many comments these days, I don't have a chance to read or reply to all of them. I do have a chance to read them, but I might not have a chance to reply to you guys. So don't get offended if I don't reply to you. I probably have read it. I just haven't had a chance to reply to it. It's only me, so I get very, very busy, and obviously I get so many comments. But do leave your comments. The comments are not just for me. The comments are also for the community, for other guys, and it's also there to educate people who don't know much about China as well. So if you have a foreigner or a Western guy looking at the video and he reads the comments, he will see your comment and he will learn a lot from it as well. I've learned a lot from your comments as well. So also, if you want, if you guys join my Patreon, you're welcome to get my WhatsApp number. I'll give you my phone number so you can contact me directly. We can have a chat, talk about geopolitics, or talk about videos you want me to work on. So we can kind of have a chat outside these videos. That's for my Patreon members. So if you are part of my Patreon, make sure you message me on the Patreon, and I will reply to you. So happy to give you that kind of service as well. I really appreciate what you guys have been doing. And if you guys are in Britain or in England anytime soon, let me know. I'm happy to buy you guys a coffee, sit down with you, meet you guys. I'm happy to do that. And I will probably meet some of you when I eventually head to China as well. So I'm really, really looking forward to that when China opens. So yeah, so see you guys soon, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care for now.